You are now rocking with the realest cowboy fan. Let's get it.
It's your boy, Big Rich, back in the building. Talk about these Cowboys, y'all. Let's go.
What it do? What it do? Welcome back to the realest cowboy fan channel. Before we go any further, you know how it goes, y'all. If you like it, I love it. So strike that like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future wonderful realist content. The realest content that you'll ever find. All right. Before we talk about those boys and some of, other things that happened this week in the NFL, this is week 2 of the NFL. It is the Sunday following all the games. Miami and New England just went off the Sunday night game where Miami pulled that one out. But before we get to talking about all that good stuff, man, I had to speak about the unbelievable college game that was played yesterday between Colorado and Colorado State. Now, I know you're saying, well, wait a minute, Rich. I thought we were talking about the Cowboys. This is supposed to be the realest cowboy fan. There's a link here. Deion did used to play for the Cowboys. As a matter of fact, best cornerback ever to put on a Cowboys jersey. Okay? So, you tell me who's better than Deion at corner, right? And Deion's got a ring with the Cowboys. So, yeah, relevant here that we could talk about prime time. All right? But his Colorado Buffaloes did pull it out in double OT, man, 43-35. It was an amazing game. And it seems like Colorado State intentionally hurt Colorado's best player, the Heisman candidate, the two-way star Travis Hunter, with a blatantly late hit when he was defenseless. And then, he tried to come back in the game, but they had to take him to the hospital because this number 11, it wasn't like number 11 didn't see that Travis wasn't catching the ball. The ball fell right in front of number 11's face, like 3 or 4 yards before number 11 even made contact with Travis. So he knew the ball wasn't going to be caught by Travis Hunter. But he still took another 3 or 4 steps and then laid his shoulder right into the rib cage of Travis Hunter. So, yeah, that was, you hate to see that. I know football's a dangerous sport and you got to protect yourself at all times. But, that was tough to see. It really did look blatant, as if they were trying to hurt the man. And I guess they succeeded if that's what they were trying to do. But anyway, now we're going to get to the NFL week 2. But actually, let me go back a little bit to that because I just want to talk about some of the feelings that these games are causing people to have. Deion has really brought a focus on college football that has never been there before. When he was at Jackson State, because it was a HBCU, it was a black college, it didn't get the kind of exposure. I mean, you would hear about Deion and, how Deion went about his business because, it's different when Prime does his thing, right? But it didn't get the countrywide exposure or focus that it's getting now that Deion's at a larger school. Even me, I'm sitting there watching that game last night, and I'm watching in anticipation. I'm on pins and needles, and neither one of those teams were my team, right? I've never been a Colorado fan, never been a Colorado State fan, but just because of what Deion has brought to that school, has brought to that program. He's always been real controversial in how he does stuff. It's just not your normal run-of-the-mill operation. So you get a lot of people, he's polarizing, right? You get a lot of people that go, oh, yeah, he shouldn't be doing that. And then you get some people that go, oh, man, that's awesome what he's doing, what he's bringing to that school and to those kids. And you can tell the kids love him. So, anybody that's ever led or been a coach, when you can get the support from those who are you're coaching or leading, and you get a full buy-in, and you can see that and it's genuine. You gotta love that. You gotta appreciate that, and that's what prime time has there. Okay, so I will digress now. Let me jump back to what my content is focused on, and that's NFL football, baby. Yeah, and primarily talking about these Cowboys. All right, how about them boys? How about them boys? How about them boys? Yes, win easily, 30-10 over the Jets. No Brandon Cooks, didn't need him. Jalen Tolbert stepped in, and he wasn't a huge factor, but he did play. He did play. He went out there and he did what he was asked to do. Um, Defense balled out. Balled out. 4 turnovers forced. 3 picks, 1 forced fumble. Micah Parsons forced a fumble, and he probably forced one of the picks because of his pursuit. The dude is unbelievable, unreal, a generational talent. I've said this before. You really need to appreciate what you're watching when you watch this kid play. It's unfreaking real. Unfreaking real. The athlete that this kid is, the speed, the agility, the power that he plays with. I've never seen it all put together in one package like this. And he's got a motor. So, yeah, man, and he's a freaking ball hawk. He doesn't just get there to make a play. He tries to get the ball and he tries to go score it. It's unreal. I'm glad he's on the Cowboys. I am glad he is on the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you for who drafted him. That draft team all of them need a raise because that was an awesome pick. Generational talent in Michael Parsons. Maybe the most valuable player in the NFL, not just on the defense, just in the NFL, period. Aside from like a Pat Mahomes. But Michael, man, he does a lot. He does a lot. I can't say it. I can't express it enough. But anyway, only 1 touchdown allowed today, so that's 1 touchdown for the year in 2 games. The offense, they look good this week. I think they had something to prove, actually. Dak was 31 for 38, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Tony Pollard had 25 carries for 72 yards, which was only like 2.9 yards per attempt. He also had 3 receptions for 37 yards, 0 touchdowns, but he did have a 2-point conversion. CeeDee Lamb had 11 receptions on 13 targets, 143 yards, and he also didn't have any touchdowns. You can tell that Mike McCarthy wanted to make a point this week with the offense. I think a lot of what the offense did last week was overshadowed by the defensive performance and by the fact that we were up the entire game. It was never really close. So it was like, yeah, you're going to keep the defense on the other team off balance. They don't know if you're running, passing, because you can basically do anything you want with the lead that you have up until the point where they know, okay, you're just trying to run out the clock with the running game. But up until that point, yeah, you're at liberty to keep the defense on their heels and, be able to move the ball just because of the lead that you have. This week, that wasn't the case. Mike McCarthy, who normally likes to defer to the second half, did not when the Cowboys won the toss this game. When the Cowboys won the toss, he said, we want the ball. Mike said, we want the ball. That let me know right there he got tired of hearing all those naysayers from last week. And, we talk about this podcast, we talk about the realist, keeping it real, REALIST, being a realist about things, knowing that typically what you find when it comes to the Cowboys, they're a very polarizing team. You have people that literally just hate them, or you have people that maybe like them too much, right? And it's that kind of fandom. It's those emotions that push people to extremes when it comes to the Cowboys. So last week I heard a lot of people really, even in a 40-0 win, people were nitpicking the win. It wasn't just, oh, yeah, great job, big win, you guys look good. It had to be buts. It had to be, oh, you weren't playing anybody. The Giants suck. Oh, yeah, no, it was, blah, blah, whatever the excuse was. I heard so many excuses last week, and it's just like, well, No, we dominated. We won. It was only one game, but we took care of our business. We handled our business that one game, and we dominated. So just speaking to that one game, it was complete domination. So you know, people still would try to bring that down just because there's the haters, the Cowboys haters. They're out there. They're in full effect. They're very prevalent. Um, so they're always going to say something about what the Cowboys are doing. Um, and they really love it when the Cowboys lose, obviously. But even when they win, it's just like, yeah, but. Um, so Mike McCarthy wanted to make a statement. He said, "I want the ball." We went, I think it was 72 yards on the first drive, 12 plays, scored a touchdown. Scored a touchdown. He kind of did what he wanted to do. CeeDee Lamb, did I talk about CeeDee? I did. Had 11 receptions on 13 targets, 143 yards, no touchdowns. It was a balanced attack by the Cowboys. 38 runs, 40 passes in total, but it wasn't predictable. Like a lot of the series were, basically run, pass, almost exact. But then you get to the fifth series and it was like 3 runs and 11 passes. So it was very unpredictable. The ball was spread around to several weapons. I've talked about this before, the different philosophies between Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy. Excuse me. In that Kellen Moore was a guy that would try to outwit you with scheme. It didn't matter which player it was going to. It was just that this guy's going to be wide open because of the way I drew the play up, because of the scheme, right? Mike McCarthy, no, it's about not just the scheme, it's about the players. Let me find a way to get the ball into my playmakers' hands, get it to them quickly, let them make a move, let them do their thing, let them do what makes them special, and then that's what's going to make the team special. So it's not just about the scheming, but it's about who you're scheming to get the ball to. You want to get them the ball in space if it's a quick guy. So let me just kind of break down how the Mike McCarthy spread the ball amongst his weapons. You had Rico Dowdle that had 7 carries for 26 yards. Again this week he showed some real juice on a couple of plays. He's got good speed. He runs hard. He's got good vision. So, I didn't get to see him last year because he was hurt. So we had Malik Davis, who we let go of this year. I was a little bit concerned by, but it seems like Rico Dowdle is as good, if not better, than Malik Davis was. That's why we let Malik Davis go. And Deuce Vaughn also had 3 carries for 16 yards, which 5.3 yards per carry. Deuce also had 3 receptions for 16 yards and 5.3 average, with a long of 11. He had 3 targets as a receiver. Rico Dowdle caught 1 for 17 yards. You had Jalen Tolbert that had 3 receptions for 18 yards. Kevontae Turpin was handed the ball a couple of times. He had 6 yards. Then he had a reception for 9 yards. So these are all guys that can make people miss in space. So you got to find ways to get them the football. Kellen Moore never really tried to get Kevontae Turpin the ball like that. He didn't work him into the offense. But you see in 2 weeks, Mike McCarthy has worked this man in because he's electric. He's electric. He's not just a punt returner or a kickoff returner. You get a man the ball in space, right? He could cause problems. Deuce Vaughn, same way. Get that man the ball in space, he gonna cause problems. Mike McCarthy saw that very quickly in the preseason, and he said, "Okay, Deuce, we're gonna shut you down." People start getting mad because he wouldn't put Deuce in the game in the preseason. Mike said, "Nah. We ain't gonna get this young man hurt before I can go show him off." So yeah, man, I like to see that. I like to see that the coach recognizes that and then applies that. So it was good to see. This game, the Cowboy offense pretty much they moved the ball at will. There were some challenges in the red zone. We were like 2 for 6 in the red zone. We walked away with 5 field goals and 2 touchdowns, and then 1 2-point conversion. That's what gave us the 30. But listen, you're gonna find those haters that say, man, y'all can't score when you get in the red zone. Yeah. The Cowboys aren't any good. You can't score when you get in the red zone. Listen, man, this Jets defense was people were speaking about the Jets defense, about them being one of the best, if not the best defense in the league. They're good at all levels. Okay, they're good at all levels. They got a good front. They have good linebackers. They got a good secondary. Sauce Gardner was one of the best cornerbacks in the league last year. He's a young talent, so good safety play. These guys are good at every level. So can the Cowboys can we get our flowers, please? It's one game. And like I said, typically you know who you are when you get to like that fourth game within the season. But we won this one, and we'll take it. We'll take the dub on the next week. And I always like to point out, because for me, there's no point in hoorahing until we beat those San Francisco 49ers. They have been a thorn in our side, and until we beat them, we can't do hooping and hollering and hoorahing, y'all. I'm sorry, because when I look across the way over to our counterparts in the West, they're also winning games. They went out and won today. They played the Rams. They beat them 30-23. The Rams look electric last week. I think they beat the I can't remember who it was they beat last week, but I think it was Seattle. They came out and beat Seattle. They played a great game. They weren't expected to win that game, but they look good, y'all. They look good. So now San Francisco turned around and beat the Rams. So, and that's after San Francisco jumped on Pittsburgh last week. Then you got Philly. Philly's not looking good, and they still putting up 30 points. So Philly just beat Minnesota 34-28. And all the football aficionados that I know, I talked to them and said, man, Philly not looking good. They're not looking like they're clicking on all cylinders. I said, man, that's scary. If a team is not clicking on all cylinders, but they still putting up 34, 35 points. I forgot how many points they put up in the opener against New England, but they're scoring. They're scoring still. So, they've got something lethal over there on offense. It'll be a good game to see them against our Cowboys, when they come into town and when we go there. So I can't wait. But they're still winning. So the powerhouses in the NFC are still doing their thing. The NFC East is showing to be pretty strong, pretty tough. The Washington Commanders are 2-0. They beat an Arizona team that's definitely not got all its best players playing. Its quarterback is Kyler Murray is out, so I know they're still an NFL team though that you have to go out there and you have to perform on the field and beat. So Washington beat them. They beat also a Denver team that's struggling on 2 now, but still it's an NFL team. Got good coaching over there, so I don't take anything away from any of these teams, man. Just like when the Cowboys win, people, but the team was sorry. No, man, that's an NFL team. You got to go out there and you got to beat them still. And there's not really any sorry NFL teams, right? The NFL is a very competitive league. It's rare to find teams that are that much more better than the next team. And even that 40-0 drumming that we put on the New York Giants, I don't know that we're that much better than the Giants, or is it just where we're at in the season? I don't know. It remains to be seen. Not to say that we're not, but I try not to put too much stock into one game and then the score of that one game, because it could also be that team just kind of said after, the 20-point mark or I forget what those the scores were up until the 40 points, but around the 20 or 30, they said, you know what, screw it. They kind of threw in the towel. They knew it was over with, so they didn't get the same amount of effort that you might have gotten from them had it been a playoff game at that same point in time during the game. So I don't know, but anyway, again, trying to keep it real. We're gonna keep it on the level. We're not gonna get too high. We're not gonna get too low. We're gonna defend ourselves when it's facts. When we're talking about facts, we're gonna bring facts to the table to defend the Dallas Cowboys. But we also, y'all, we're not gonna get too high off of these victories, because guess what? We're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be doing what we're doing. The way we developed the team over the past 3 years, we should be looking at these weeks against teams like the one that we just played today in the Jets, where their starting quarterback is hurt. And then the Giants, we've been jumping on them. we should be ready for those dubs to come, and we shouldn't be go Cowboys Super Bowl. Not yet. Y'all know who we gotta get. Y'all know who we looking after. That Niner gang, the ones that go bang bang Niner gang. Yeah, them. But that's who's beating us. So that's what I say. Our focus is on beating them. At any rate, y'all. Hope you're blessed. Glad you came to check out the channel again. If you like it, I love it. So strike that like, subscribe, ring that bell for future notifications, and take care of yourself. I'll see you again next week. Realest Cowboy fan, out.